One universal truth, if there ever was such a thing, would be that we tend to cling to the illusion of control. We biological anomalies with no distinct purpose nor function give our existence artificial meaning. We wade through the blinding chaos that is life by holding on to certain machinations of belief, ideologies, value systems, even common morality. Over the generations, these indulged schools of thought became a sort of shared artificial truth. The universality of views bound us together, and so, from chaos, came unity. From the noise came one voice. The effective leader will understand the power of control of the voice. For through tradition and culture, one can tame the feral beast that is life itself.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, depending on where you are on this good green earth of ours. Or maybe the good green mock. It's not very green though. It's kind of deserty. In Makar. Ooh, that's good. Death Valley living. My name is Kane. Today we're going to be talking about traditions in Stellaris. The very things that define the priorities of your civilization. Which ways your culture is developing through time. And you can see that if we're using the same map, the same game for all of these little tutorials. We've rewound the clock a little bit. So we're not at war at the moment with these people. We've rewound the clock to 23:59. And we've actually unlocked everything by this point in the game. We've unlocked all the traditions. Ascension perks we're going to cover separately in a different video, because they have a much bigger impact in your long-term strategy. But we are going to cover, of course, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trees of tradition. So, you pay for traditions using a resource called Unity, up here. And we are going to start off by talking about how we generate Unity before we actually get into the meat of what these are and which ones you should pick, which ones do what, blah, 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 blah. We're going to actually talk about Unity. So, let's imagine that we don't have a grand commonwealth. Let's imagine that we are just us on our little planet Mock, hanging out, having a little bit of a planet and thinking maybe one day we can walk amongst the stars. Oh, don't want to live there. That's perhaps almost as hot as the United Kingdom has been. Right. So, let's have a look. So at the moment, planet production, if we look down here, we see we're producing a lot of stuff. Mainly because it's 2359 and not 2200. But we are producing Unity. And you will be producing Unity on your first planet as well, mainly because of the building that you'll have in this slot, the very top left slot, the first building you'll have. And exactly how you produce Unity might differ depending on the government type you've got in place, which is of course determined by the ethics you've got in place. So the Great Velveteer Commonwealth, we are a very, very proud military junta. Which is an oligarchy that's militarist. And so, what produces Unity on our planet? Enforcers, which is a type of job. So, enforcers, we can see here, produce Unity, decrease crime and spawn defense armies. So, for each job, we get 10 Unity. Hooray, hooray. Loving that. If we go to Stronghold, we've got soldiers here. Soldiers will also produce Unity. And a wide variety. So the Sacred Nexus as well. So we've got priests there, because we're a bit spiritualist. They turn toasters into Unity. Fantastic. Worship the toasters. Worship them. come together in your worship of toasters. Very good. So we could generate unity in a wide variety of different ways. Sometimes you'll have events that produce unity. Sometimes you'll be able to take decisions that will increase unity production in certain areas. But generally, your main building on any planet will produce a little bit. You can also have different technologies and different decisions to be made in order to increase it. And such decisions will almost exclusively, if not completely exclusively, be in the society branch. So have a look at those. So once we are developing unity, we develop unity. More unity tomorrow in exchange for toasters today. When we've got unity coming in, how do we spend it? We spend it on two different things. And these do really come one after the other. The first thing you'll spend it on is traditions, and that's what we're going to be talking about in this tutorial. After you've bought all the traditions, and you're like, I've got all of this goodwill. I've got all of this shared destiny, all of this unity hanging around. It's just clogging up the house. What do I do with it? You can actually go into edicts, and you've got edicts, you've got campaigns. Campaigns here will are the ones that cost special resources as opposed to influence. And then you'll also have ambitions. And I don't know why we've not got them. Because we've got all the traditions. Are we missing one or something? They should be here at the bottom. Ha 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 ha. Why isn't that working? So now we're actually going to talk about what they are, how to use them, and what to prioritize. So much like in other titles such as Civilization, for example, when you generated enough culture, you'd be able to choose a civic and go down a tree like that. This is largely a similar. That's why we haven't finished the Domination tree. You silly boy, Jacob. You silly boy. You haven't done it. That's why. You'll be able to pick a civic and go down a particular path. Now, in Stellaris, you can unlock all of them. Of course, the decision to be made is which one to do first, because we can see here a cost. The next tradition will cost us a lot, 30,332 unity. And that goes up according to how many traditions you've already unlocked and how many categories you've unlocked as well. So you never want to go, oh, I'll have one from Discovery and then one from Expansion and then one from Diplomacy, because it will increase the cost by 5% by every single branch you unlock. So you want to really go whole tree, then another whole tree, then another whole tree to mitigate that cost. Also, if you go over your Empire Sprawl, we talked about that in a different tutorial, how to manage administrative capacity. If you go over that, it'll start raking up this cost as well. So keep an eye on that. Which one's better? Which one is better? Should we go for expansion or maybe harmony? What about supremacy? We can go maximum pew. Which one's better? We're going to cover each one in detail. We're going to go in a sort of anti-clockwise sort of thing, and we're basically just going to be staring at the screen. So feel free to turn this into a podcast if you like. That's totally fine by me. So we're going to start with expansion. We must expand our civilization to new systems and planets, or risk eventual extinction. That's quite dramatic, isn't it? Colony development speed increased by 25%. That's on just adopting the tree. So you adopt a tree, you open it up. You don't actually get any of these yet. Those come after. So say you've got your first, you've had enough unity to buy your first tradition. You unlock a tree. Then you've got to wait for the next one to actually click something inside it. So that's the adoption effect. So colony development speed increased by 25%. Hooray, hooray. If you are in the early stages, you've got lots of colonies that you want to grow, then boom, 25% boost. That only comes into effect when you've got that odd phase where I guess the ship is unpacking, and everyone's getting all their posters down off the ship and moving out and stuff like that. And you've got that little progress bar when you've got a new colony on the way, I suppose. Gestating. When's it due? That kind of stuff. So that's the adoption effect for expansion. Inside, we've got a variety of lovely little bonuses, we'll cover them all, to help our empire, I suppose is the correct term, our empire grow and flourish and be able to you know, be big and hefty. So we've got Reach for the Stars. Starbase influence cost reduced by 10%. So if we want to make new systems part of our empire, plop a little starbase in there, get some mining stations going, we're gonna pay 10% less in influence. And influence is always a bit of a B word in terms of controlling because of factions and things like that. So that's quite a good thing. You can see these little arrows as well. So this will unlock these two. It won't unlock this one, for example. So let's follow it down. Next one, Courier Network. Empire Sprawl from systems and colonies, not pops, only systems and colonies, is reduced by 25%. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Obviously, if you're willing to sacrifice the building slots for admin buildings like we have in Helan Prime, then it doesn't really matter that much. But it's good. It's good. It's good. Galactic Ambition, you're going to be paying less for your starbase upkeep in terms of energy. And I think alloys as well. Let's have a quick look. You paying for this? Yeah. So you're paying alloy costs for station upkeep. No, we're not. Oh, it's just an energy. Yeah, so you're going to pay less in energy overheads for your starbases by 20%, so that's lovely. Then we've got colonization fever. So that balances nicely with that one if you can get them two sort of closely together. So after your colony has unpacked and everyone's, you know, moved their paperweights and lava lamps from their quarters into their little hut, you're going to have an additional pop. Pops mean prizes, ladies and gentlemen, so that's fantastic. Then we've got a new life. Now this one is huge. Pop growth speed is always a problem. It's always something you're battling against because you're building the buildings, you're getting the tech, you're getting all that stuff, but you don't have the people to do the stuff. Pop growth speed will fix that. Increase by 10%. That's huge. Every time, just think of it this way. Every time it would have taken you to get 10 new pops, you've instead got 11. And if you've got 3 colonies, for example, every time it would have taken those 3 colonies to generate 10 pops each, you've got 3 extra pops across those 3 colonies. Does that not make sense? Then rewind, because it barely makes sense to me. But I know it's correct, so don't worry about it. So that's expansion. Early game, very useful. Very, very useful. Then we've got Domination. This is more of a mid-game thing. This is why I haven't really gone down it so far. Adoption effect. Clear blocker cost reduced by 1/3. So that's all right. You know, making the most of your planets. That's pretty good. We can have a look here. We've got colonial viceroys. Governor level cap increased by 2. Governors in your sectors as well. Very, very powerful. Can have huge benefits. And being able to increase their level cap means that they'll have better benefits, which is, you know, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Let's go over to the next one. Imperious architecture. All government buildings in our great empire shall be monuments to the state. Capital buildings and housing buildings provide +1 housing each. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Is it a priority? Maybe not. If you're all overflowing because you've got too much pop growth, maybe, then it's good. But +1 isn't really that. Excuse me. +1 isn't really that much. And then the Privy Council, ruler level cap increased by 2. It's all right. So obviously your ruler is this person here. At the moment we've got a level 6. So we've got some good stuff here. You know, they do these things. You know, it's all right. It's nothing to write home about, really. Next one, public trust officers. Enforcers reduce crime by an additional 20%. This is pretty good. If you've got crime problems are usually caused by a lack of consumer goods or overpopulation. You can just crack down with enforcers if that's what you want to do. And this will make it better to do that easier to do that. So that's pretty good. And then after that, we've got workplace motivators. So you can increase your resource output from the people at the very bottom of society by 5% by unlocking a new edict. That really does depend on how your economy is set up. Resource output. This edict is not going to affect happiness. So your workers find slaves. You don't really need to care about their happiness. If you did, you wouldn't really have slaves. But they'll work 5% harder. For a large economy, 5% will add up. For a small economy, it's just 5%. So, that's domination. That's domination. Prosperity. Let's go full Ferengi. So, there is no better indicator of the success or failure of a star nation than the strength of its economy. Says Space George Osborne. Adoption effect, mining station output increased by 10%. If you've got a lot of mining stations, that's pretty huge. Let's have a look. First one, administrative operations, building and district upkeep, reduced by 10%. That's going to be pretty good. And then that will unlock these two down here. The pursuit of profit, specialist resource output increased by 5%. Again, it's just 5%, but it adds up. So any specialists, what are specialists? Those are your metallurgists, your artisans, making your consumer goods, your alloys, your research, your special resources, even your admin cab. Everything that's done in a building, basically, is a specialist job. So plus 5%, it's pretty good, pretty good. Interstellar franchising, city districts provide one additional clerk job. Clerks are mainly concerned with generating trade value. So if you are part of a trade league, or if you have a lot of trade income from planet to planet, or have big trade centers, for example, then having more clerks is good. Particularly if you're looking towards getting ecomonopoly. Or just big urban worlds with loads of city districts, then yeah, the clerks are good. Pretty good. Interstellar franchising. Thumbs up. Standard construction templates. Buildings and districts have their build cost reduced by 10% and build speed increased by 25%. This really almost fits into expansion. You're going to be able to get colonies up and running very quickly. Obviously, buildings and districts, they're kind of pointless unless you've got the pops in there to run them. So if you do, go nuts. It's always good. Build speed is probably more important than build cost, but build cost reduced by 10%. Combine that with viceroys, wherever we had. Where was that? What was that? Yeah, colonial viceroys up here. Combine it with that. Governors will, of course, reduce that cost further and speed it up. You've got a pretty powerful combination. Pretty powerful combination. Public Works Division. City districts provide one additional housing. The majority of your housing will come from city districts, so this is actually, particularly for those big urban worlds that we've got loads of the clerks on, is pretty dang powerful. So definitely recommended. Definitely recommended. So we've covered 3. We've got 4 left, and then we'll talk about the strategy. We're going to take a short break, and then we'll talk about how to be harmonious. I think that's a good reason to stick around. Stay tuned. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for sticking around. I've sourced and fitted a new nose, so hopefully I'll be less talking like this. A little bit damn pollen. Right, so we're moving on to harmony now. Harmony. Let's all be nice. I think our world should go down this tree. But anyway, that's different. Might make a new channel with my musings, but we'll see how that goes. So let's look at harmony, right? Adoption effects. Pops eat less apples because they're happier. No more comfort eating of the apples, reduced by 10%. It's pretty good. If you've got an apple shortage, consider harmony, although there are better ways to reduce apple consumption. Or just make more apples. Up to you. So let's have a look. Mind and body leader lifespan increased by 20 years. That's pretty dang good. Remember that it usually takes time for your leaders to level up. More levels, better leaders. So giving them more time to do that is pretty good. On the other side, we've got kinship. Now this one you might go, what? What strata? What? So, let's have an example. Let's take Uldor Prime, for example, let's say, okay, instead of having this as a planet to do all of these cool refinery stuff, let's say we just need more clerks. Let's turn it into an economic powerhouse. The Uldor, the Royal Bank of Uldor. So what we would do is we'd get rid of all of these buildings. And so all the people that work in them, our specialists, will then move into lower class jobs. I say that with biting my tongue a little bit, real world allegories. So we need to make sure the jobs are available. At the moment there aren't any. We've only got one vacancy. Actually no, we've got an unemployed worker. So that's even worse. But if we had a load of free jobs for workers, and remember, workers are the basics. So they are your clerks, they are your farmers, your miners, your technicians for energy districts, you know, those people. If we were to get rid of all of these buildings, you would think if we had jobs available in the lower strata, that they would just move down. They just go, okay. Life's a bee. Oh well. They won't. They'll be unemployed for ages, and then they'll eventually accept their fate. And while they're unemployed, they generate crime, they generate unhappiness, and generally are bad. They're bad. Unless you've got utopian abundance when they generate science just by sitting around and thinking, which is a living standard. This is going to be a problem. And you might think, why aren't they? There's jobs available. Just go and do the jobs. And you might try dragging them and do the jobs. But no, they won't. It'll take time for them to accept that. If you unlock kinship, they'll go, no, this is my destiny. This is my part of a greater whole of the Great Velveteer Commonwealth. And so I will accept my future. And they'll all be, zen about it, and that's pretty cool. So that will take 50% less time. How much time does it take? I don't know. Probably someone needs to measure it. There'll be someone on Reddit who's measured it and has done a lovely little chart. Go and check that out. But it'll be reduced by 50%. So this is really, if you need it, kind of thing. It enables you to adjust your economy quicker. Which can be useful, reacting to a changing universe. So that's pretty good. Then we've got Bulwark of Harmony. Really, really good for empires that are not out on the warpath. When you're in a defensive war with another empire, your ship build speed is increased by 1/3. That's massive. In addition, the ship fire rate is increased by 15% for battles that take place within your own borders. Combine that with the war doctrine, or war philosophy, no, it is war doctrine, of defense in depth, and you are pretty badass when you're fighting on the home territory. Bear in mind that you won't be able to access war doctrines until you get to the end of the Supremacy tree. But yeah, that's pretty good. Oh yeah, there are bonuses when you get to the end as well. We'll go through them as well. Maybe should have done them before, but no, we'll do them at the end. It's your bonus. That's the carrot on the end of the stick here. So we've got that. Bulwark of Harmony, pretty good. The Greater Good. Governing Ethics Attraction increased by 25%. Well, that's huge. That's huge. We talked earlier about the fact that influence is a bit of a problem because you can't control it because of factions. Get this, and your factions will be under control. So as long as you are acting in the best interests of your own governing ethics, these are ours here, Xenophile, Militarist, and Spiritualist, then your population is with you. And that is good. That's good for factions. That's good for pop happiness. It's brilliant. Down from that, we've got Utopian Dream, and now this is very simple. Stability increased by 5% on every single planet. Stability, go back to the economics tutorial if you don't know what that's about. Better stability means better everything. More resources, more trade value, more immigration pull. It's just fantastic. Possibly one of the most powerful. Just a plus 5% stability bonus. It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. On the other side of Harmony, we have Supremacy, which is about killing people. Adoption effects. Starbase capacity increased by 2. Meh. Army capacity, army damage even, increased by 20%. Now that's interesting. If you want to go Space Marines, this is a good one to go down. You get that just from selecting it. You don't have to even go deeper in. So let's have a look at what you do get if you go deeper in. Master Shipwrights, ship build cost and ship build speed both get good bonuses for Master Shipwrights. On the other side, Fleet Logistics Core, upkeep down. That's pretty good in terms of your alloys and energy. But naval capacity increased by a whopping 5th, which is pretty brilliant as well. Get both of them. Oh, I think you only need one of them. No, you'll need both of them. Look at the way the arrows are done. Yes, if you get both of them, you get War Games. Fleet command limit increased by 20, which is brilliant. And your admiral level cap has increased by 2 as well. Combine that with your colonial... no, that's governors only. Combine that with... which one is it? Mind and body. You've got long-living, super effective admirals. You know? Every single one of your dudes is going to be a Dharma. That ain't bad. Bad it is not. Overwhelming force. Ship fire rate increased by 10%, which is just very good. And orbital bombardment damage increased by 20%. Yep. You nuke them from orbit. And then... and then take your armies that you've got, just selecting the category, and yeah, you're pretty scary. If you've got that, we can go down to the Great Game. Starbase damage increased by 20%. Great for defenses. This really is very defensive orientated. So Starbase damage increased by a 5th. Defense platform build cost reduced by a 3rd. As well as the Starbase upgrade cost. So that is from Starbase to Citadel. You know, all of those different stages that you go through. Reduced by a 3rd. So that's pretty good itself. And diplomacy. Have a chat with people. You know. Be nice. Unlocks Edict of Diplomatic Grants. Let's have a look at what that is. Available envoys. +1. It lasts forever, apparently. I didn't know that. Lasts until cancelled. You what? Oh, I've just blown through all of my influence. That's a bit confusing, because edicts do have an expiry date. So I'll get back to you on that, I suppose. But anyway, let's keep on topic. Diplomatic grants, available envoys +1. What are envoys? We use them to manipulate our relations with other empires. So let's say the Theban Hive over here. If we wanted to improve relations or harm relations, we need to send an envoy. These are the envoys we've got available. We've got one that is available, so we can send them to go and do that. So +1 envoy. It's pretty good. Hooray, hurrah, hurrah. And our diplomatic influence cost is reduced by 50%. So influence expenditure for diplomatic reasons is reduced by 50%. Anything that helps you control influence is good. Let's have a look. The Federation. You can't do federations at all without this one. You can be invited to them, but you can't suggest them without this particular tradition. So that is very, 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 very important. You might start with this one if you've got one of the origins that put you in a federation to begin with, such as I forget what they're called, but the one that starts you in a federation and the one that starts you in a hegemony as well. Then we go for Entente coordination. This is about federation naval capacity. We'll probably do a whole different video on federations themselves, but you have to give a little bit of your naval capacity to a Grand Federal Fleet. Grand Federal Fleet. Big government! You know, think about that. Open markets. Empire trade value increased by 10%. We talked about Clark's trade value before. That's enormous, especially if you've got a large empire. That's going to be big numbers. Let's have a look at our current economy. Trade is a 342 energy per month coming from trade. So it can be huge. So think about that. Then we've got the insider trading. Market fee reduced by 10%. What's the market fee? At the moment it's 5% because we've got all of this stuff. But generally you will pay a small premium, call it VAT or sales tax if you're in the United States, of the value of anything that you get. So we've got here, if we wanted to buy 1,000 minerals, it's 0.9 energy per unit, but we're also paying a 5% premium on top of that. Where does that money go? I don't know. Hedge fund managers, I assume. So, market fee reduced, pretty good, if you use the market a lot. Secure shipping. Base trade protection for trade routes increased by 5%. This is against piracy. If you don't know what piracy is, have a look at my helpful little video explaining it. And then finally, we have discovery. Discovery is all about science and technology. Unlocks the edict map, the stars, which increases your survey speed. Let's have a look. Where is it? Here we are. Survey speed plus 25%. And you're 10% more likely for your science ships to discover an anomaly. And anomalies are almost universally positive. So that's pretty good. And they're a good way for your leaders, your scientists, to level up as well. So it's pretty good. It's pretty good. And as well as finding new anomalies from that edict, you can also increase your research speed of them by 20%, which is fantastic. So let's now have a look to boldly go. Survey speed increased by a massive 35%, and your science ships are going to be a bit nimbler in case they encounter something that wants to kill them by 50%. That doesn't make them invulnerable, but it does make it more likely that they'll be able to escape, so that's pretty good. Let's have a look. Data bank uplinks unlocks an edict for research subsidies, which basically means that your labs will work better, and your planetary labs, that is, and research station output increased by 10%. We've got a lot of research stations, definitely will add up. Science division, research alternatives increased by 1. Science's level cap increased by 2. That's good. Better scientists, better everything. Better archaeology, better research, better survey and anomaly research. It's just brilliant. You want your scientists to all be geniuses, and this is one way to help them get there. Polytechnic education. Leader experience gain increased by 25%. That's enormous. And their level cap increased by 1, which is okay. But mainly it's the experience gain increased by 25%. So this is really good. That's really, very good. And we have faith in science. Pops working with research have their upkeep reduced by 20%. Pop upkeep, that's your toasters, and that's your food, your apples. So that's pretty good. If you've got a lot of researchers, you're going to start to see the effect of that. And there we are. Those are the 7 trees of tradition. They, of course, pull in different directions. Your priorities will depend on your context and your game plan. If you intend to overrun and conquer neighboring empires, then Supremacy will give you the power to do so. If you need to make sure your population remains in check, and you intend to remain insular and rule with an iron fist or tentacle, then Domination is your best bet. Want to get loads of money? Prosperity. Want everyone to be happy? Harmony. Want to know everything? Discovery. Want to build a great big federation? Diplomacy. Want to just have a load of stuff? You want to go expansion. Let's look about finisher effects now. So when you finish each tree, two things will happen. One is that you'll get the finisher bonus. So adopting all of the expansion traditions will allow every single planet to build an additional district. If you've rolled a bad dice and you've got loads of teeny little planets, this is huge. That's brilliant. So think about that. Domination. Increase your monthly influence by 1. Now, I know 1 sounds like tiny. By 1! Oh, amazing. No, it's actually massive. 1 influence per month, guaranteed, done. So we haven't unlocked this yet, but that's your base. So that will go up. It's at 4 at the moment because of a technology. Very good technology. Sound like Donald Trump now. And that will go up to 5 when we finish the Domination tree. And that's fantastic. That is brilliant. Prosperity. Mining station output increased by 10%. Oh no, that's adoption. I can't read. Sorry. Finisher effect. We'll give our planets a merchant job plus per 50 pops. Let's have a look at that merchant job. Let's go to Mock. Has more than 50 pops. Let's have a look. There's our merchant. The ruler strata. Plus 5 amenities and plus 8 trade value for each merchant. So we're about to get a third one when we go to 100 pops. Actually, yeah, we should have 2. Why is... it should be 2 when we hit 100. Whatever. They also produce unity, which is great. But really, look at those amenities. That's mega amenities. And remember, more amenities you get, the better your stability. Ooh. Oh, well, rather, you need to have enough amenities. So we've got loads. There are theatres for days. It's brilliant. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I enjoy that. Harmony. Reduce Empire sprawl from pops by 10%. Remember, there was one here. Empire sprawl from systems and colonies reduced by 25%. Pops themselves, let's have a look. From our pops, got 622 pops. That's 233 crawl. Well, add another 20, add 23 on, because we've already unlocked it. But that's can be significant. Can be significant. Depends, of course, on the size of your empire. But more pops generally the better. So it's pretty good. Supremacy. Adopting all of those traditions will unlock war doctrines. These are mega powerful. For more information on them, please have a look at the war tutorial if you've got a spare 3 hours. So we've got war doctrine. We've got these different doctrines that affect how our fleets perform in battle. Again, have a look at the relevant video for more detail. Diplomacy. Increase our trust cap by 50% and our trust growth by 1/3. Basically, it's going to be a lot easier for people to like us if we've got diplomacy locked down. Discovery. Research speed plus 10%. I mean, sold, done. I often pick this one first. I like to tech. 10%. That's enormous. That is huge. Every single lab, plus 10%. Every single research station, plus 10%, essentially. Because you get a massive bonus to every single thing. If you go to technology, you see these plus 80%, 65%. That's base plus 10 because of you finished that. Discovery Traditions finished plus 10%. Amazing. Amazing. Recommended. Whoopsie. And, most importantly, every single time you unlock a tree completely, you get an Ascension perk. Ooh, we're going to cover those in a different video. They're very powerful. You could even say they are ascendant. And there we go. This video has gone overly long. I have a problem with overly long videos. I hope you've enjoyed it anyway, and that you've learned some good Stellaris knowledge that helps you to ensure your civilization can stand the test of space-time. I've been Nova Kane. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to support the show, please go to patreon.com/Nova Kane. It literally enables me to keep the lights on, which is important because it'd be very difficult to do this in the dark. And I think my processor is about to die. So, yeah, have a think about that. Also, please do follow me on Twitter for live stream notifications. It's always good, at Nova Kane Gaming. Many thanks to the patrons who've already pledged on the bottom of the screen right now. Until next time, I wish you good space emperoring. And generally, I hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing happy. And what to say that isn't cheesy? I don't know. Just you know, just be groovy. Just be groovy, be cool, have an ice cream. And with that pearl of wisdom, we'll call it a day. Thank you very much. See you later.